Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me once again for Get Your Money Right with Yvonne. I'm Yvonne. How is it going? If you were looking for the spot to talk about saving for retirement, you are indeed in the correct place. And we'll talk to you at the end if you'd like to join this very supportive community. Don't worry about it now. Just enjoy this episode and see what you think, okay? So we want to start this the way we always do by me asking you, how are you doing? How's it going? How are you faring? And I always want to just do that because we are all so busy. We forget to just kind of reach out to family, friends, coworkers, whomever, just to kind of ask, how are you okay? Is there anything I can do to support you? We're all just trying to get through the day, and sometimes we forget. And I don't want to do that. I just want to make sure to let you know that somewhere in the universe, there are people thinking of you and wishing for your success. If there's anything you want to share with this community, by all means do so. We need each other, okay? So, how is it going with me? Fine. Now, a couple of things. So, we're talking about the millionaire next door, right? So I'm reading this book, love it. And, I came across a passage, some of those under asset accumulators. They're not doing what they need to do. They're making good money, but not making the decisions that will help them in retirement. So they're just not saving enough. So I was reading a story about a gentleman who, I don't know how much he made, but he had access to information because one of his business associates is with Walmart. And so he knows that business backwards and forwards and has an opportunity to invest in the company's success, and he fails to do so. And could be any number of things. A lot of people just aren't thinking about saving. They are just spend, 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 spend. And so here's the thing that ties into this, what I came across. There was an article, I think it might have been produced by CBS News, I'm not quite sure, but I think that's where it came from, where it was talking about TIAA. So Thomas Ivy, Apple, TIAA, did a literacy test. And what they discovered is people aren't answering those questions as well as they did a decade ago. And I'm like, wait, what? And they said women were faring the worst. And I'm like, okay, don't talk about my girls like that. So I took the test myself. I looked at it and I go, okay, so first of all, I had to find it. And I used Microsoft Copilot. Now, there are lots of different AI systems out there that you can use to do this. You can even use Google, and we'll talk about the differences here in just a minute. But I found the exam, 28 questions, and so I took the test, and I go, this ties in to what we are attempting to do on this show. So if you get a chance, look for it, TIAA Financial Literacy. There are 28 questions. And it just so happened, I'm not bragging or anything like that, but I got 100%. And the reason why is because, like I've told you guys before, I graduated from the School of Hard Knocks. I had come into contact with nearly every one of the things that I saw in this test. And so think about it, do it for yourself. And what I'd like to do is find out where we all are in this journey. Just kind of get an idea. How are you thinking about money? How are you thinking about finances? How are you thinking about investments? We've touched on everything that was on that test somewhere in the last 15 months. And so just think about doing it for yourself. And the reason I suggest that you do that is just figure out Are there any, areas where you might be deficient in your learning? And we can, let us know, because we want to talk through some things and make sure you're in whatever place works for you. And that's what this is all about. We're coming at this different times in our life and different things going on. And believe you me, I understand how difficult it is to save for retirement. When that light bulb went on in my head, and we're talking, 20 years ago maybe, when I realized that yes, I've got a job and I'm living for today. We want to be happy in our lives, and we don't want to save every dime we make. We want to have some fun. But you also have to think about what happens when you're 65, 70, 75, and you can't depend on an income to take care of you. So now what are you going to do? And so many people say, I'll work till I drop. That's one way to look at it. It's not a strategy, because what happens if you simply can't? Because I'm reading all these stories that come out about retirement, and you just never know what's about around the bend for people. So you have to prepare. We just have to. And you guys know, okay, years ago, I gave you this story ages ago, but I'm just going to kind of touch on it. There was a show in the 1960s called That Girl. Loved it. It was starring Thomas, Danny Thomas's daughter, Marlo Thomas. She escaped me for just a second. And she was a broke girl in New York, and what she did to get by, and some of the things she did, I tried. I discovered you cannot really make tomato soup with packets of ketchup and water. It doesn't quite work, but I tried it along with some other things, and just trying to get by. And now with everything being so expensive, housing, food, gas, your utilities, just all these things that come up that you have to plan for, but your paycheck only goes so far. So that's why, ages ago, I said, you look at retired people, and we would call them fixed incomers. Think about it. We're all fixed income, aren't we? I mean, my salary is what it is, and it's actually been pretty close to what it's been, except for cost of living adjustments for like 6 years. So we all have to learn how to make do. We have to. That's it. It's the nature of things. We just simply have to do that. Whatever that looks like for you is what you need to do. And you know me, you got the blank piece of paper, and you know why, right? So I'm hoping by now you have talked to your HR department and you have signed yourself up for a retirement plan, and that you're putting money in it consistently, because consistency is what's going to win the race for you. You put that on autopilot. Yeah, you're going to have to look at it. You're going to have to tweak it. And, people ask me, well, Yvonne, how much should I put in? Well, this is an individual race, individual game. So just figure that out for yourselves. But if you're just looking for a starting point, 5%. Start there. You're going to want to increase it, but at least start somewhere. And I told you how years ago, when a 401k was made available to me and I did 5%, I'm not going to lie to you. I felt it. I had to, kind of suck wind and go, okay, what do I need to do to make this all work? And finally got into a rhythm, and I got to the point where I didn't feel it because I made adjustments. So when I'm talking about that blank sheet of paper, and that first line is what and you want to do this for a month, right? A month's worth of expenses. So that top line is, what are your paychecks for the entire month? Start there. Then that second line, pay yourself first. So you're going to want things like your emergency fund, your regular savings account, Me, in addition to that, I have a few other savings accounts. Just, throw some money in just to kind of whatever. Got that emergency fund, and I'm putting away money each and every month for insurance because we pay that once every 6 months. So twice a year is what I do. And so just keeping track of all of that. Then, what are your expenses? What's your food? What you pay in your credit card? Utilities, your gas, all of that. I have do. And for the longest time, I realized I was spending more than I was making. So I had to make adjustments. I had to learn how to make this all work for me. I want a happy life. I want to wake up in the morning feeling good about who I am and about what I'm doing and what I need to do. So, whatever you need to do. Like I said, for the longest time, I had a shortfall. Made some adjustments, and now I'm at that point where I have money left over every single month. And that, because sometimes there's that possibility that I've overspent or whatever, so I have a little bit of slush to take care of that. So things to think about. You'll have to let me know how that is going for you. Do you have the blank sheet of paper and you're tracking your expenses, or are you doing it electronically? We don't care how you do it. It does whatever works for you. Me having it written down holds me accountable, and I'll get that piece of paper. Where am I? What am I doing? How is it going? So just throwing it out there. Whatever works, let us know. Because, my way is that piece of paper. What's yours? How are you keeping track of things? And I know when I was reading The Millionaire Next Door, it asks, do I know what my annual expenses are? And I guess that I do. I'll have to double check to make sure that my monthly, that I can tally up over the year so that, I know what my expenses are, what I'm spending, and keeping track of that. I'm assuming that's okay, but I guess I better just make sure that is an okay way to do it. And I just, we're all just trying to get through this thing and just making sure that we save the money that we need to save to help us in our, I guess, your golden years, as they tend to call it. So, whatever works for you, don't really care, but share with the community, because maybe you've got a different way. Maybe something else works for you that might work for somebody else. And I love it. I love it when you guys write back to me. And some people have reached out to me about our new old way, I guess, of figuring out net worth. Now, anybody who's new to this community might not have heard us discuss this. Go back and check some of my earlier videos just to kind of make sure. But here it is in a nutshell. Take your current age times your annual salary, multiply that out, now divide it by 10. And I don't ever want to say this is what you should have, but maybe a better way to put that is something for you to work toward. Here's the possibility of what your net worth could be. Now you take what you own less what you owe. So what do I own? I have some savings accounts. I don't put most of those in. For me, I just don't. But the value of my house, I have an idea because somebody sold their place down the street a couple of months ago. So I'm just using that. And then how much is the balance in my 401k? I add those two together. Now, from that amount, subtract what you owe. And for me, I still have a balance on the house. So there's that. And I still have a balance on my student loan. Okay? Now, the net worth that I figured, my age times my salary divided by 10, that amount, and what I determined is my true net worth, because what I own less what I owe, that figure is $50,000 less than the my age times my salary divided by 10. So I'm close. I'm not a prodigious accumulator of wealth, and I'm not an underachiever of wealth. I'm right there in the middle. I'm right there. And so just all of these things, figure it out for yourself and reach out to this community if you have any questions about that, because we'd love to chat with you and, help you out. We're all in this together. And, the whole business of me taking that TIAA Financial Literacy quiz, at first I'm like, kind of mad, like, are you trying to make us feel bad that maybe we don't understand money the way we should? Then I looked at it a different way. Think about all the people out there who are struggling, they need some help. And let's invite them into this community. That's what we want to do, is help one another out. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wind this up, because I want to keep this in the 15-minute range. You're busy and I don't want to take up too much of your time. But at the beginning of this, I said, if you are not currently a member of this community and wish to become so, see where it says subscribe? Just click that and follow the prompt. And just know, these sessions are completely and totally free. This is something that I always wanted for myself and never had access to it. So just creating it for myself and creating it for all of us. So when you get these videos that will come straight to you as soon as I produce them, you can view them, you can share them. And sharing them is important, because all these people out there who may not understand finances, let's bring them in. There's a lot of people. So whatever social media you use, you can always put these videos in and just share them with people, so we can help one another out. And then the videos you can save, whatever works for you. Let's just put it out there and help people to learn. That's just what all of this is about. Okay? So with that, I'm going to wind this up by saying thank you for joining me for Get Your Money Right with Yvonne. I'm Yvonne. And please be good to yourselves. Please be good to other people. Kindness goes a long, long way. And let's just take care of each other. This life can be hard. Let's just not make it any harder. Let's extend some grace to people. All right? So you take care. We'll see you next time, okay? Bye-bye.